Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Tales with TR, episode 163B. Now available, by the way, on YouTube. Just go to THPN, the Hockey Podcast Network, subscribe, and check out my podcast as well as so many other good ones ASAP. Now, today we have a treat. This is one of my oldest hockey friends, and we haven't caught up in a while. Usually we speak a little bit more frequently. I give you right now, former Kitchener Ranger, former Fredericton Canadian, former UPEI Panther. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Montreal Canadiens prospect, former Darcy Harris. Darcy, welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks for having me, Junior. It's been a long time. Like you said, it's been too long since we caught up.
I should say current teacher and current father. Current, are you coaching still?
I still coach. Yeah, I helped coach my son's Pee Wee team last year, and I still coach spring hockey. Still run some hockey schools, and yeah, vice principal now at the high school that I'm at.
Vice principal, okay.
Actually, I'm all grown up, TR. I'm all grown up.
That's wild. Did you ever think that when we were roommates, we were roommates here in Newfoundland, and you definitely didn't think that, but did you ever think in Fredericton when we were roommate or neighbors on Frederick Lane, right across from Sweetwaters and Dolan's, two great watering spots back then? I think Dolan's is still there. Did you ever think then that you would be a vice principal of a high school?
No, I never thought I'd go back to school ever again. I didn't. I tell the kids at school this, so it's no secret. I didn't like school. I was not I did okay at school, but I didn't like school. I never thought I'd be there every day. But
you know, it's funny. That's funny because you always like to speculate. I remember like enjoying being sitting around you during a pregame meal or breakfast on the road or something, because maybe that's the nature of Newfoundlanders and Prince Edward Islanders. I don't really know, but you always seem curious. So I'm surprised that you didn't like school. Maybe it was just that experience.
I like knowledge, but I didn't like school. No, I didn't like having to sit still for 75 minutes in a classroom. That wasn't really my thing, but yeah, I never thought I'd be a teacher. I liked working with kids. I knew that. I liked working at hockey schools and that kind of thing, but I never thought I'd be a teacher, let alone.
And for those that don't know, so if you want Darcy's story in chronological order, it's in the archives. I guess when you were first on, you were one of my earlier guests. I don't know. I should have done my homework, but you guys can do that. I think it was maybe episode 20s or 30s. It was a couple of years ago at least. So now I'm just going to, catch people up somewhat, but I'm going to ask you some questions that maybe I would never have a chance to ask you in a first interview type situation. Now, before we get there, just to give people a background. So Darcy and I played together in Fredericton in 98, 99 for the Fredericton Canadiens. And Darcy, that year, you were a late pick, right? Like no one expected you to sign at camp. I shouldn't say at camp. After camp, they certainly did. Before camp, you were one of those guys that had a great camp. Before camp, what was the story going in again?
Oh, I was a late round pick. I might have been their last pick. Yeah. I think I was, how many rounds was there? 9? I was probably 9th round pick. I know I should know this stuff, but I don't. But I have a picture downstairs with me with my jersey on, and I didn't even go to the draft. I was an overage draft. I didn't expect to get drafted. And earlier that day, my agent, Larry Kelly, called and said, "Hey, great news. I got Dallas and Detroit both wanting to sign you straight out. Like they're not drafting you. No one's going to draft you. You're an overager. We're going to." Anyway, last round, he calls back later on that night. He goes, I got good and bad news. I said, what? Good news is you get drafted. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. He goes, yeah, into Montreal, like one of the historical clubs. That's pretty good. I said, yeah, friggin' right. He goes, problem is this last round. He said, I could have got you more money if you would have went with Detroit and Dallas unsigned. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't I went to camp with no real expectations. I had been to Vancouver as an invite the year before. Went back and had a really good year in Kitchener, my second year in Kitchener. And I had 40 points and over 200 PIMs, and
20 goals, 20 assists. Am I wrong? I don't even
I
need
think it
to
was
look.
19 and 21. I think is what it was.
Okay.
Actually, it was 21 goals and 19 assists. I think.
Yes, you were a 20-goal scorer, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I got that puck downstairs too. But
Deadly.
yeah, and I didn't expect to be playing pro. I thought I'd go back as an overager, but I just kept progressing at camp and ended up having a decent camp, and then they kept me in Fredericton. So
yeah, it was a nice surprise, especially for me. You got to understand, from my eyes, that was my second year in Fredericton, I guess, but that whole experience was awesome because I mean, for both of us, we're Penny Lane, can you shut your door, please?
What's coming next?
Creaking because no one can hear it. It's just creaking. It's creaking. It's creaking, and it's getting into my
mind.
mind.
Say stuff that we shouldn't be talking about in front of the kids.
I'm that. No, I'm no. It's creaking. It's like I'm that guy that if I'm at bat, in baseball, and something starts distracting me, then it's over. I'm going to strike out. I know I am. I've always been like, I got to talk myself out of these situations. And right now that door is in my fucking head, it's going to throw me off the rest of the time. Oh, you know what? I got to go do it myself. She's got her pods on in her room. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, and going back to that. Okay, so you came in, for me, see, I played since I was 14, 15, I'm in Quesnel, BC, right? Yeah. Couldn't be further from home. For everybody listening that came in with the internet, picture without that, right? Like, I was still writing my buddies letters and stuff. Like, we could talk, obviously, on the phone, but there was no texting. And I don't remember. The computers were out, like, but there was no... It wasn't the same, and you couldn't play a video game like I can now with my friends, so that was gone. I don't think the word online was even talked about. So
did we have MSN Messenger then? I don't know if we did.
I don't know. I think I only found, like, it was probably 5 years old when I even started using it, like, really. Yeah. So it was just so foreign. With social media, took the bar so far one way that you the middle ground was texting. But there was none of that there. So I felt like I was on another planet for 2 years. Then I went down to Tri-City. I felt like I was in another galaxy. Now I'm just as far away. And these people live in the United States. And I love the States. I love my time there. But the people I was hanging out with, like, they don't teach any Canadian history like we teach. We sprinkle on American. I mean, we could probably deal with more, but you have an idea what the states are, at least, right? Yeah. Like, British Columbia was attached to Washington State. It was bordering Washington State. And the people in my class were going like, we don't get it. So it's in Columbia, it's British. Where's Vancouver then? And I'm like, God, this is 5 hours away. As I get as you further south you go, or remote areas you go, they would know less and less. Now, I don't fault them. That was in the curriculum. I went through it. I did high school there. I graduated. It just felt far away. Now, that being said, playing, Darcy, with Tri-Cities was a different flavor than you and the O, because I kind of liked the disconnect. We were new. We were in the desert. We were the only game in town, other than high school football, which was very popular, but I mean, of any prestige. And, we had our little rivalry with Spokane, Seattle, and Portland, and Tacoma. It was American Division. So I really enjoyed it. It was just, I kind of learned to cut Newfoundland. Like, I'm not going to run into any of my buddies like you would in Kitchener. I'm not, sometime you would. There's universities. None of my buddies were going to Washington State or University of Washington. Yeah. Most people hadn't even been. There was one couple from Newfoundland, and I forget, there was a nuclear power plant, and they had moved there. So, for the work. So, and I was such a breath of fresh air to meet them. I was like, wow, like, even my billets were awesome, but they didn't know much. They're like, oh yeah, you're from, so St. John's is in Halifax. No, it's not the way it works. It was hard to even get into it. Yeah. So, but then by the time now I come over to Freddie, right? And I was in Montreal a lot at 19, but that was a different experience. That was the NHL. That was it was, I had a concussion a lot of the year. I was going through that. Getting to Freddie, now all of a sudden, a couple of universities there, some of my buddies from home. Now, the first year there, Linger is playing. Jason McDonald had just left. I got to know the boys. Then you came in. So for me, what I'm saying is that you were a great flavor for that. Because, It was like my buddies, Boyd Olson, for example, was my teammate out west. Boyd had never been east of Saskatchewan. So now all of a sudden he was getting this kind of live my world, and you moved in, and for people that don't know, you moved right next door, and we had some good parties. Hey,
Oh, did we ever? Oh my God, you and Milo next door.
I lived with
Yeah.
the European, yeah, and he would be he was really broken English, Miloslav Girin, but we would get drunk and he would play the spoons. He just loved the whole Atlantic Canadian experience.
He had the old Czech Republic version of Twisted Sisters. We're not going to take it. Remember that?
Oh yeah, in Bashibeki,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, he would. For some reason, that was his go-to when as soon as he had like 5 or 6 beers.
Yeah. And I lived with, I had JF Wool there, Ray Jean Wool's son, living with me.
The GM of the Montreal Canadiens. His son was on our team, who's a coach now, pretty successful one.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And lived with Darcy, which was wild. And I was with Milo. A lot of fun. Yeah, that was a great
spot. Yeah, we had Alain Nazardine, Sammy Nazardine. Who else was in that complex with us? Johnny DeLille.
Johnny DeLille.
God rest his soul.
How did they end up over there? I think Bocage was there.
Marc Bocage, Sylvain Blouin, Eric Hood. Eric Hood was in there with us.
Hoodie was my favorite of the French folk. Yeah. Yeah, because for people that don't know, there was an obvious. Now we were pretty good, but there's always going to be with a team with so many French, as you know, they tend to have, for good reason. There's like cliques, right, and it happens. But guys like Johnny DeLille, God rest his soul, and Jose Theodore was good for that. Eric Hood, they would bring the Sly Blouin and the Bocages and the Robidas, who were like real French. Oh, yeah. They would kind of bring them our way, and we would all meet in the middle at my place.
Yep, we did a lot.
Yeah, that was a good time.
You didn't have much in your fridge. I just remember there being a lot of Sleemans and some mustard. That's about it.
Yeah, a bit of sauce for the takeout. It's amazing, you know. Looking back, imagine like, and I remember like, even like, I wasn't an outcast. Like that was often like, I mean, with the eating, like most of us ate out. Once in a real blue moon, like Milo would make something, or I would. All I really knew how to do was boil noodles, put tomato sauce on it, and maybe put some chicken in the oven. Yeah. But that might have been once a week. Now, I'm not saying we had McDonald's every time, right? We would go we would go to McGinnis Landing, or we would go.
Yeah. That was next door, so we went there lots. Yeah.
And, you know, if we got anything for the house groceries, it was usually snacks like granola bars or whatever. But it's funny because I would have brass from the team in there and see my fridge. Like no one ever, if you just think about it, Darcy, both of us, but think about even me coming in as a first round pick and 34 fights my first year. Like no one said anything. Like I'm sure they knew that was part of my game, but you know, I remember them. I mean, they wouldn't have picked me 8th just for that. I know that it was more about scoring, but you know, just people were like, that was just the way it was. And I remember people having, Stefan Dubé was our trainer. I remember him been over. I always had half my fridge was beer for everybody else. You know, but I mean, of course I'm going to drink them, but our place was a bit communal. I had that. And then, you know, some snacks. And I just said to people, I just eat out. We just go over there to McGinnis Landing, go through everything, might go up on the hill to Red Lobster or whatever. Like it was a funny existence for a dedicated so-called bunch of prospects. You know what I mean?
We hit up Joe's Diner after practice. The old Joe special. It was like a grilled cheese with hamburger on it.
That was it. It was either, you know, that or late breakfast. And I often got up. I didn't eat breakfast a lot of the time. I just went and skated and then ate after that. You know, hydrated. I figured it out because I read like GQ magazine, but it's funny that none of that, because it seems so obvious to me.
No, we didn't know. We were young. We didn't know anything.
I know we didn't, but you'd figure that someone would have told us. You figure now I'm sure they got 5 people in charge of just diet, right?
Well, it was probably in those manuals we were supposed to read there that they'd send you home with.
Well,
at the end of the year,
was.
Manual.
Remember that? And it was like everybody was on the same program. I can see me and you being on the same program, but I remember going up early and like Valerie Bure should not have been on my program.
No.
You know, I need to get quick feet. Like there's so many things, you know, that is different about his game. And I'm just using that as an example. I can say you and Saku Koivu, you guys were on the same thing, right? Everybody got a manual.
We were not on the same footing, but we were on the same plan. Yeah. It was a different time, just a different time.
It certainly was. So I just had. Remember the story I told you before we started about doing the hockey schools? Where I was going with that is that so I have to get up this week and go do hockey schools. Penny Lane, who's coming into her own as a soccer player around here, real good soccer player. She's got the unofficial like provincials this week. There used to be an Newfoundland, as you know, but now most of the great soccer teams from the island are from in and around here. Even the ones that are like they'll have a provincial wide league, like her Metro League. They'll play Marystown. Corner Brook aren't in this year, but they have their own thing out there. So they just play all year, like a 20-game schedule or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they play it down, and that's the championship for the province. Okay. If anybody wants to join, they can. That's the league. And like I said, I think Marystown is a 3.5-hour trip. That would be the furthest. And so Grand Falls, unfortunately, and Corner Brook don't have a team this year in their league and everything. So that's what they're doing. And that's what they do for the most part. Even the teams that are provincial wide, they'll bus out, they'll raise money, and they'll do it. I mean, it's a big I like the setup. If you're a player, it's interesting to have a Metro League that goes on during the year. But I miss that there's no provincials. So so there's a Sunsplash tournament that has all the teams, and that's this weekend. So she plays at 6:30 tonight. Now I had to go up and go to hockey. I said I'm going to be at hockey school most of the day. Then I had to come back and do this. And I usually get her ready, and but I've never explained the way a game day works.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, like, she didn't get it. I said, come on, let me sleep. It was 7:00 this morning. I said, well, get up, even have a muffin. And go for a little walk and go back to bed. Like we used to get up, and that's what a pregame skate is, kind of thing, right? And then we'll eat 5-6 hours before, which I just right before we did this. That's why I made it for. Made her chicken and pasta, and I explained that, right? That's kind of the easy layup for a pregame thing, some carbs and protein. That'll give you some energy, long lasting, not like French fries or anything, right? I gave her this, and then she went outside again. And it did a little warm up and some stretches. Now she's in for a nap, but she'd never really been shown the way. And I assume that's soccer as well, right? I mean, I looked online, and Ronaldo went through his game day, and it's exactly what we did. It's the same thing. Yeah. So but everybody has their own version of that routine. Like for years, I remember sleeping during the afternoon, and then when I started fighting a bit more, I found it hard to do because it wasn't like bad energy. It was just a bit of nervous anxiety. I might get a little bit of rest, but I knew, like, if Frank Bialowas is playing and I'm on the menu, it's hard for me to get a nice little napski out of that, And I'm not complaining. That's what I chose to do when I dropped my gloves as much as I did. But what would have been your game day? Your perfect, you get up, I want to be totally prepared tonight. What are you going to do?
Well, it's the same as what you said. You get up, you had your pregame skate, get up, went to the rink, had a good breakfast usually, went to the rink, did the pregame. After the pregame, go home, have your pasta, your chicken and pasta, lay down, have a little nap, get up, a little more movement, go to the rink, do some stretching, get set up for the game. Even after I was done playing pro, I even went back to university, and university's different. You practice through the week, but you never play through the week. Well, we didn't. You might have the odd Wednesday night. We might have to go to Moncton, but even at UPEI, I get up, you play Friday night, Saturday. Saturday morning, I get up, there's a Tim Hortons down the road. I'd walk down to Tim Hortons, get a bacon breakfast sandwich. Probably not the best thing, but also I was at the point where I wasn't super concerned anymore, but walk down to Tim Hortons, get up and get moving, have a breakfast, do something physical. We wouldn't have a pregame skate on the Saturday, but I would do something physical, go for a run, do something, go back, try to have your nap, same thing, get up, have your chicken and pasta before your nap.
So you were no, and so.
Well, I'm a creature of habit.
I say this, and I assume everybody knows it, but a lot of people don't know the routine. So the other thing is that I remember, like,
it's challenged, right? Like, because I remember even at the end of when I was playing, Benoit, he ended up playing with Colorado. He came into Montreal. Benoit, was it Brunet or Groulet? What
about him?
Anyway, he came in and he came from NCAA, and the guy had he had a nutrition degree. He was a nutritionist. Anyway, he had a degree in that. And he was like, you don't need to be eating that far ahead, and you should be eating smaller meals. and you should be eating, closer to game time. And I was like, no, that's not what the pros. Listen, man, you're in the pros now. This is what we do. This is how you do. And he was challenging it. He's like, no, I don't want to eat the big meal at 12 o'clock and have my nap in the afternoon. I want to have a meal at 12 and a snack at 3 and go play. And I was like, oh, you do what you want to do, man. But anyway, he ended up, Benoit Brunet. It wasn't Brunet. He was younger than that. But he played
it
with.
Must have been the year I left, because you.
It was, it was Quebec City.
That extra year.
We were in Quebec City.
Yeah. I know it might be challenged, but I think put it this way, I think of the two options, they're both good, and some might work better for others, but I know that both are better than sleeping till noon. Not saying that she does that. She just had no idea. I'm gone. She just would have slept and then, get ready, and maybe I should watch TV and then nap. I'm like, well, you got to get your legs going somehow before the actual game starts, or they'll be dead, right?
Yeah.
That's wild. I just remember by the time, like 2 hours before the game, because she asked me as well, like, when should I go to the game? I go, it's different for you and everything, but really, how do the pros do it, you're asking me? I remember when it was 2 hours before the game, I was dialed in. I was ready. I was focused. And now I'm just, in my mind, maybe we put on some good tunes. We might be loosey-goosey, but I'm dialed in. I know it's a game day. I know who I'm playing. I know who I'm playing with. I'm looking forward to getting out there, nervous energy and warm up, and here we go.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember Andre Bashkarov. Remember Bash?
Yeah.
Well, he'd go down for his warm up like 2 hours before, and he's doing squats, and he's got like he's got like friggin' 3-4 plates on either side, and he's doing squats where he's coming up off the ground. I'm like, what the hell?
Do you remember that shit?
Oh,
for those that don't know, this guy, he was drafted at like 33. Remember, like I'm and he wasn't a bad player. He ended up playing a little bit in the NHL, so I'm sure they knew what they were doing. I'm not complaining that he got drafted. No.
Toolbox was
he was just, and he was even stuff like that. I would be like, Bash, there's no way that can help. That cannot help. It's right before the game, and you're squatting 600 pounds. Like, that doesn't make sense in any world. I don't know, right? And then he would be really particular about certain things, and then you'd look over, and he'd be like 3 bites out of a McChicken from between the first and second period. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Right? Certain things.
He had, man, he had quite a shot, and 3 strides, he was full speed, and he was quick. Like,
he was hard to knock off the puck.
Strong legs. He was
really
ripped.
Strong.
He was ripped. That guy was ripped.
Yeah, he was. I remember him being like hard to knock off the puck, big lower body, like Richard Zednik. Oh, you never played against Richard, I don't think, but I played junior against him, and he was just one of those things. He wasn't a huge NHL star. He was good though, and that was his bread and butter. So listen, you mentioned we're gonna go. By the way, just want to know one quick thing. You were number 14. I just realized from your Hotmail. So is that the reason you couldn't have it in Freddie? Because I had it.
Yeah, you had it in Freddie. I took it in Freddie when we moved to Quebec City, but I never wore it until Major Junior. I got to Major Junior. 27 was gone. Keith Welsh had 27, and that's what I was kind of wearing at home, like with the caps and stuff with Junior A. And so my dad always wore, I think Dad always had 14. I think my aunt wore 14. Like, it was kind of, a lot of people wore 14 in my family. And I remember Ryan Milanovic was given 14, and I was given 11 in exhibition when I was in Kitchener. And he didn't want 14. He's like, can I have 11? And I was like, I'd love to have 14. I want to switch. So we switched, and the two of us ended up being on the team. And Milanovic was a friggin' freight train, man. He hit, oh my God. He was an underager.
Didn't he end up going to university in Atlantic Canada?
He did. He went to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, yes, because my buddies Snakes and Spock and them called me and told me about
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
and then I went and watched. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. Train tracks, you are out.
Oh, so as an underager, it
wasn't just that; it was on the boards and stuff too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, as an underager, he was voted hardest hitter. Him and John Tripp were voted hardest hitters in the OHL.
Wow.
By whoever votes, I don't know, but
that doesn't surprise me. Tripp
was a big guy. Yeah, we fought
Tripp the year before you were there. He, I'm left wing. He's right wing, playing for St. John. I'm Fredericton. We played them fucking 12 times a year, and then playoffs. Like, he got me a few times. That's one thing. I wasn't a great hitter, but I would go there and do it. But like
Yeah.
guys like that, like he could really do it. If
Oh,
you were to count how many hits at the end of the year, we'd probably be similar. But his hits hurt.
yeah.
Ever fight a guy like that? Now you had a good punch, of course, and
Yeah.
borderline great punch. I had a pretty good one. I'm hanging in there with people, but I remember fighting some guys going, okay, that's the difference. Like if he hits me,
Johnny Oduya hit me in the ear.
and
Flat in the corner, and Frederick, not Johnny, Frederick Oduya.
I remember this.
Oduya. He hit me in the ear. I had cauliflower ear, man. Like he smoked me. He could hit. Like thank God they didn't catch me in the jaw, but we had a pretty good tilt there in the corner. He freaking caught me in the ear, man. It was freaking wicked.
Yeah, sorry. I guess this is on YouTube. I got my shirt off. I made a coffee spill, and I'm looking around that I want to take another break, and I don't really see anything. So there you go. And it's like 30 degrees here.
Oh, I thought the AC went out or something. You were feeling the shirt.
No, I got a fan right here coming at me. I hope you can't hear the vibe too bad. Listen, you're a Jays fan, right? I don't want to alienate too much of the audience. I think a lot of them know at least who the Jays are, and I bet you half of them probably are Jays fans. I get a lot from Toronto and a lot of Canadian. About half my audience is Canadian, and half are from all over the world, like some Australia, a lot from the States, obviously, but places you wouldn't believe, like a lot in Australia. I don't know what happens, Darcy. Wow. I don't. I assume maybe it had something to do with Shoresy. But anyway, I apologize to people who have no idea what I'm talking about. But quickly, we're on the Jays. One of the most fascinating stories, I think, in all of sports in the last few years is Alec Manoa. I don't understand. So for those that don't know, he was an all-star last year. He had the ball in his hand in the playoffs. He's a young pitcher, big guy, burly guy, but would blow it by people and had a wicked slider to finish you off. So much so that he came, I'm not going to say out of nowhere, but I believe him and Nate Pearson was probably a bigger prospect a few years ago.
Yeah.
But Manoa overpowered everybody, came in. He's on the all-star team, all-star game, man. This year he comes in now. They sped up. He was, in my opinion, this might be he's doing shitty. So of the 218 pitchers, I think he was like 190-something in time taken between pitches. And for those that don't know, the pitch clock sped up this year. They wanted to speed up the game. Yeah. So, you only have, I think, 15 seconds from the time you get the ball. Now you got to pitch it. Where you used to be able, there was no clock. You could walk all over. The ump might say, hey, get to it. But, you could take a minute if you wanted. And it was slowing down the game. Now, do you think it's just simple as him being in worse shape? Because obviously he's a big burly guy. I'm not fucking fat shaming or anything. I'm saying, obviously, though, there is an A and a B, right? I'm not saying, I don't care how he looks. I'm just saying maybe that. But, he came back, again, for those who don't know, he got sent down to the Florida Complex League, and they lit him up for 11 runs in 2 innings. These are like 17-year-old and 18-year-olds. And they brought him back up. He finishes off Detroit in great fashion, but Detroit aren't really that good. And then he gets rocked again, and he had an average game last time. Do you think he's going to come back to what he was, or do you think panic button?
No, I think there's a whole lot going on with him, to be honest, when I watch him. One, I do. I think that the speeding up of the game, that's not him, because he took a lot of time between pitches, and he's young. He's still really young.
And it doesn't have to be cardio. Maybe it's just what you're used to.
No, and it's not so much. I don't think it's so much his physical shape, although. And I'm going to call somebody out here, and I really hope he's not watching, but I don't care. I never see the guy since we played with him. But, like, you remember, like, Jose Theodore was Vezina Trophy winner, Hart candidate, and then that was kind of it. He never did a whole lot after that, right? And I think when you have so much success when you're really young, then sometimes you kind of forget what got you there in the first place, and maybe the work ethic goes away. And I don't mean to question Alec Manoa's work ethic. I'm just saying that maybe he didn't do last offseason what he did the offseason before because he had so much success. And I don't think it's his physical shape, just that maybe he didn't put all the effort in. He doesn't blow fastballs by anybody. He throws like 93, 94.
Yeah, he's lost a couple. I think either it was like 95 and now it's down to 93, but he lost a couple of miles off it.
And then, so you add the changes in how quickly you had to pitch between pitches. That kind of, he may mentally not quite have adjusted to that yet. And then I think he's trying to make every pitch so goddamn perfect. Like just throw it. Like he's trying to, I'm going to throw this and I'm going to catch, the bottom quadrant there, the bottom left, but just throw the ball. Like sometimes you just got to throw the ball, throw strikes. He was missing the strike zone because he was trying to throw perfect pitches because he may not have his best stuff. but he's good enough that just throw pitches, throw strikes, fill the strike zone. If they put the ball in play, look who's behind you. Like he's got his fielders are unbelievable around him. They got a great team. They have one of the best fielding teams probably they've ever had.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, go back to the 90s, like
someone could just lob the ball over the plate and they're going to win the odd game.
If it's in the park, they got a chance.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But I think he's trying to do almost too much, and I think then his struggles. I think he's trying to do too much. He's trying to be too perfect, but just go back and just throw the ball, fill the strike zone.
Is Lionel Messi the biggest sports star in North America right now? You think?
Right now, yeah, definitely. Right now, the week he just had. Junior, I think I lost your sound. I think you're muted.
You got it now?
I got you now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there.
Lionel Messi, I think the last 2 weeks, or the last week that he just had, yeah, he's biggest sports star. Then you started something, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't know how to frame the question. If it even is one, but like is he bigger? Well, he is bigger than the league he plays in.
Like, yeah, big time. He's like Beckham when he came.
Well, Beckham came. I didn't know until I did a deeper dive. But But Beckham, there was 12 teams. Now there's 29.
True.
And the market, and now there's like half of those at least are like built for soccer. They're soccer stadiums. When Penny Lane and I went to an MLS game in Montreal versus Atlanta, and it was packed. It was 21,000, I think. No, 19,500, because I remember comparing it to the Canadiens games, and they play a lot. I don't know what it is, but I looked at the schedule. It's not like they play football, like 8 home games, and that's why it was sold out. And it was Atlanta. It wasn't even a rival. And this was a vibe. This was a lot different. And the last time I was in Montreal, they didn't even the Impact, I think, were in like the secondary league. But this was, and then I started kind of even a few weeks ago really looking into it, and we watched the odd game online, and it's exploded since. But still, I'm sure Beckham had a lot to do with that. But still, Messi comes over, and I mean, 3 goals in 2 games. For any other sport, that doesn't sound like a lot. But is he that good that you think is he going to like McDavid the league?
Yeah, I got to be honest.
He's 36 is why I say it. I mean, I kind of expected him to do well, but is he going to just walk through like a knife through butter? Is he going to show us how shitty the MLS is? Or I was figuring we're going to see that it's a lot better than it used to be. I thought he's going to score a lot, but now, I mean, unless it's just luck of the draw, and he can't be lucky, but unless he's very opportunistic, if this keeps up, like, I mean, what's he going to get, you know?
Well, he's, like you said, he's arguably the best player who may have ever played the game, right?
And he just was MVP of the World Cup 7 months ago. So, like,
right. He hasn't lost a whole
He's
lot.
a 36-year-old that's still, you know, if you're judging the World Cup as the best, which you probably should, right? Then he's only 7 months removed, so he hasn't really lost it yet. But
and then he comes to the MLS, which I think when you look at all the soccer leagues around, you're looking at, you know, if you're talking hockey terms, you may be comparing like the East Coast League to the NHL if you're talking levels, right? Like I don't think you can say the MLS is on par with, you know, any of the leagues in Europe.
No,
well, I shouldn't say any, but any of the major league, the top leagues in Europe. But
you can't. But yeah, and you definitely can't. But what goes with that, I think, is I just thought it would even itself out because the players that he's playing with aren't as good. So yes, the opposition isn't, but I could see it in basketball, someone to get like 150 points if they were the best player and the other team sucked. But in soccer, you still got to get it in the right situation. If they can't get it to you, and Miami, I don't think are like one of the better teams. So I figured that might happen. But you know, if they're capable and they get it up to him, now it's 3 goals. If he has 20 goals in 7 games, then I'll start going, okay, what's going on here? You know, I mean, the biggest stars in the world in soccer go 4 games without scoring. So who knows?
I'd say their locker room talk beforehand is kind of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when they were playing basketball, just pass it to Will. It's probably
You would
the ball
think.
to Messi. Give it
And
to Messi.
soccer's hard to do that, but I guess they have, though. I mean, the rate that him and Ronaldo have been scoring at is vicious, and they've been in the best leagues in the world. Not now, either one of them, but they have been. So, and there are others. I'm just, that's the current debate. Everybody likes to say Ronaldo, Messi, or LeBron, or Michael, or whatever, right? Or Gretzky, McDavid.
So since you're talking soccer, then how come Christine Sinclair doesn't get the recognition?
I think, honestly, because she's a woman. I think it'll change, and it is changing. Penny Lane and I, trust me, we're trying to go. I didn't realize till recently when Penny Lane got into it. That's what I'm saying too. It's a great question to ask. Thank you for asking me a question on my podcast. I've talked 80% of the time here, by the way. But just my observation here, I think that for that reason, and she's the biggest international scorer of all time of either sex. And soccer is not like it's lawn bowling. It's not even like it's hockey. I love hockey, but there's only so many teams that can give you a game if you're Canada. But there isn't. It's not like it is. Women's soccer is legit. It's got as many good teams as the men do. It's a hard playoff. You could be rated number 1 and lose to the fucking 20th team. That could easily never happen in hockey. Love hockey. Love that our women are proud of it. They should stick around, but the whole world got to catch up still. But like we look and like we went to that game. I said, Penny Lane, like there's pro soccer like that too. And for a couple of years, we've been watching the highlights. Portland, right? She plays out in Portland, and it gives women, I think, a great, it's awesome for me to have that with a daughter because her idols can not only be a Messi, but a Sinclair. And I love soccer for that reason. We can watch highlights of either sex and it doesn't really get brought up, right? Like, It's just like, oh, what a great play. Not like any of the men are this and the women are that. But what would you think? I would think I guess she's a little bit older, but so is Messi. I think the women's game on the bad side, I do think it's because she's a woman. On the bright side, she's done so much that she's starting to be in the conversation where 20 years ago, I don't think she would even if she'd already done what she'd done, I don't think she's in the conversation because people didn't give it any credit. Now it makes you think.
I just find that even within the women's game, she doesn't get the credit that she deserves. I think she's lost a step. You watch her, like even the game against Ireland yesterday, there was one cross to the middle. It should have been just an easy little tap in. She was expecting a redirect, whatever, but like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, she missed that. But
the penalty shot,
she's never gotten the credit. I don't think that she deserves.
Well, see, I thought maybe there you go. But how long have you got?
Internationally, I don't know if they recognized her.
Okay, maybe not. Canada does. Yeah, you're right. That's a great question. I really don't know. How does the rest of the world perceive her? I mean, if you're right, she's on Canada, and even though we won the Olympics a few years ago, it wasn't always like that. I remember some World Cups we didn't even qualify for when she was around.
Yeah.
But still, she scored all those goals, even when Canada weren't winning Olympics or even coming close. Or World Cups. She still was the one player. She was the Messi, the Maradona, the Ronaldo, whatever you want to say, of not only the women's game of the whole world. And who knows if she does? I don't know. Does she get the recognition?
I'm just biased. I think they're shitting on Canadians, but anyway.
Well, a lot to unpack. You're starting a team in the NHL. You got to pick a player. Now, I'm going to take McDavid off the list.
Okay. Starting the team now?
Yeah, you got to start a team. Who are you going to pick to start it around?
If you ask me this 3 or 4 years ago,
I'm going to take Bedard off the list. Okay. So you got lots of great young players.
I'd still take Crosby 3 or 4 years ago, just for leadership. He could show them the way. But now,
they're their same age. So like, even though Jack Hughes isn't Crosby, he'd be more sensible because he's a lot younger. But yeah, I mean, I think I hate that my answer isn't Crosby for this because he's my favorite of that whole generation. But
I think I'm taking Nathan MacKinnon.
You're taking Nathan MacKinnon.
I still am because I like the way he plays, but I think that there's leadership quality there too. I know they had Landeskog there for a long time stuff, but you want someone that others want to be like, or at least have to show up to practice and try to outwork. And I think that I could be wrong on this, but I think MacKinnon works. Like, I think he's someone that your other players have to try to outcompete, right?
And shout out to Atlantic Canada.
Plus, yeah.
Yeah, shout out. If you were to drive to Cole Harbour, what's it, 3 hours?
Yeah.
By the way, when was Confederation Bridge? For those that don't know, PEI is an island like Newfoundland, and not like Newfoundland. It's an island in Canada. That's a province. It ends there. Newfoundland is the 14th biggest island in the world. PEI takes, I think, 2 hours to drive across. But there wasn't always the bridge. When I was a kid going there for baseball, we had to fly in. Confederation Bridge, which is a massive bridge, one of the biggest in the world, was built that connects PEI to the mainland. Before that, was it as frequent for people to pop over to Halifax and whatnot?
I would still go. Like my mom's family was mostly. Mom was born in Manchester, England. Her and her twin sister, but most of their family was in Moncton. So we went a lot. We go the same amount. You're going to a hockey tournament. You're going to a hockey tournament. The bridge, the ferry, didn't matter. You were still going. You just had to time the ferry. It really hindered travel plans. You had to plan to catch the ferry, and hopefully in the summer months that you didn't miss that ferry because it was packed, and you had to wait for the next one.
It must help tourism.
What's that?
It must help tourism. I just told you before this. I said I'm going to St. John for the ball hockey in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If the bridge wasn't there, I wouldn't even think of coming to PEI.
No,
but if I get a day off, I got buddies. I love PEI. I'll drive over, take the 3 hours.
3.5 hours, you'd be in the island. Yeah, no problem from St. John. Same thing, Fredericton or Halifax, Fredericton, same thing. They're all about 3.5 hours. But yeah, the bridge opened. It was after my first year in Kitchener, I think, because I had when the bridge opened, they had Bridge Fest. I think Bare Naked Ladies played at it.
Bridge Fest. What a
Bridge Fest. You got to walk the bridge. They had a run where you could run across the bridge, like a marathon. It was 13 kilometers, not a marathon, but they had a bridge race. And actually, I think they did like a 26 maybe kilometer run. You ran over and back. There was a race, and then they had a time where you could walk the bridge. The bridge was closed for traffic, by the way, but. So you could walk the bridge. You could either just walk as much as you want and turn around and come back, or you could walk all the way over and take the ferry back. The ferry was still running. That was just Bridge Fest that weekend. Bare Naked Ladies played. I went to it. I had a knee brace on, tore my knee ligament that year. So I think it was my first year in Kitchener. So it was 96. I think the bridge opened in 96.
Wow. Yeah. I remember life before it, just coming over in like minor sports. Right. And flying over or flying to Halifax because the deal was way better, and then going to the ferry.
Bridge made life easier. I'll tell you that. Only for
way easier.
Way easier. Yeah.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
In the world? Like not about the bridge, but in the world?
Yeah. In the world. But bridge, I guess it would be traffic and tourism season, but what I'm just guessing, what other, does the bridge piss you off in any way?
No, not really. Bridge doesn't piss me off. On PEI, farm equipment on the roads, and I grew up in a potato farm. Terrible thing for a guy to say, but that pisses me off. But I think my greatest pet peeve, this is probably coming from my professional life now, and this may not actually help me if people outside of the hockey world watch this, but parents who don't think their kids do anything wrong. I think just the way things are going now, and I honestly think it's more about you want your kids to have everything that you didn't have, and you want them. I want my kids to be successful in everything. Everybody does. I want my kids to have success in everything. But if you never tell them no, or you remove every roadblock from their life, you're not actually helping them be successful in anything. You're hindering them down the road. Like, you learn way more from your failures than you do your successes. Kids have to fail at something.
They have to. And well, put it this way: successful kids have to fail.
They have to.
Everybody I know is successful
in the world. Yeah. They've all failed at things. They've all failed at things a number of times. Most of them probably failed more than the average person. That's why they're successful. They overcome things. But if you just give your kids everything and it just drives me nuts when I'm in the office and you call home and listen, your kid's done this, they're suspended for 2. My kid wouldn't do that. Well,
he did.
They did it. Like, I'm sorry, they did. And they argue tooth and nail and try to fight through it. It's just let your kid take their lumps, and your kid will learn something and come back, and they'll be a better person because of it. But I think our generation is, I don't know. You look at our society now, I'm fearful
Yeah.
of what's coming down the road. Like,
Well, totally. But that's why I love sports, though, Darcy, because sports, no matter
yes,
what, and
that's
the
it.
further you go in sports, the harder, well, not the harder, but the
Yeah,
like the more you learn that lesson. Like, okay, like I just mean, and I don't mean like pro. I mean, although that you can't possibly get there without going through that. Every hockey player, no matter what, even like I said in our era when, or even now, to play hockey and major, junior, or pro, you have to have gone through some checks and balances. You have to have gone through a lot of adversity, and just to go out there, I don't even care if you don't fight or you don't play physical. You're out there with sharks who do. So
right,
it's a very, very physical game. You're away from home. You got to deal with that. You've got it. You might have a girlfriend, but you know what? Shit or get off the pot, man, because you want to play for O'Donnell with a girlfriend and get 6 a game, or do you want to go and actually have a career, right?
right.
Then you might have to deal with not making it and going and playing university and having to fall back, quote unquote, to a fucking free education or whatever. But there's levels and there's ins and outs and nuances, and
Yeah,
that's just a pro player. If you're Penny Lane, like I said, it's one thing to play house league. I think the goal of house league might be a little bit different. But if you want to play all star, now you
yeah,
got to start. Okay, now you got to be at everything. You can't not be at anything. You can't go to your cabin this weekend if you want to play all star. And once you do, you know what? If you're the starting striker and you go 3 games without scoring, then look, we're going to put Lucy in, and she's going to get a shot, and that's the way it goes.
yeah.
And eventually, not only does the cream rise to the top, but these people learn. And they might be upset, they might be pissed off, they might want to kick the wall, they might want you to call the parents, but
But
by
what's
the
wrong with
time
that?
they get to university,
There's
you
some
know,
resiliency.
I just say that because it's the first year out of high school. Could be whatever. You could take a job somewhere. You'll be more successful as a student or a worker or an athlete if you fucking failed.
Right. And I'm not saying my kids aren't. They don't. My kids are good. They're good kids, but they don't have everything. I say
Yeah.
no sometimes just to say no.
Yeah.
Just so they hear the word no. Let's stop in for an ice cream at the Dairy Royal. No, I want a chocolate milkshake. Goddamn right, I want a chocolate milkshake. But I'm saying no because you need to hear no, and we're not stopping. So we just keep
Hey.
going. Like, just because you need to know, you need to hear the word no sometimes, and you need to know that you don't get what you want every time, and you have to sometimes have to sacrifice certain things for other things.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway,
And
I don't know.
I even think it teaches you to be compassionate because you can put
True.
yourself in way more situations, and you they could be a reach, but I just think I'm just trying to use my own life, and I just think it helps you identify with more people. You don't have to be a soccer player to know what it's like to miss a penalty shot, but you know
Yep.
what? You can be at work and let everybody down in the same sort of way, and
Yep.
it's dealing with that mental adversity, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Might have
great
got a
answer.
little too deep on that one. I don't know what you're looking for an answer. That might have went a little too deep, but
Yeah, but it's an encouraging answer because I think people got to fucking hear it, to be honest. And it tackled another question I have, so it was 2 for 1.
New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. In West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. 10 plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms.
What was your favorite TV show growing up? So let's say before you went to Kitchener.
I mentioned it before. Probably The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I love that show. Oh my god, I love that show. Yeah.
You were right in the wheelhouse too. That would have been
Oh
like
yeah.
like 89 to like 93 or 4 or something.
Yeah, it would be my favorite show, I think, growing
So
up.
back then you wouldn't have anything on demand. So you would have had
No,
to
God, no,
tune
I
in,
had to watch it live.
had
You
to
had to
watch
watch
it live.
There was no such thing. There was no PVR. Unless you set your VCR to record it.
Yeah, that
And
was
you had
it.
to, LP or SP, you had to have the speed right if you want.
Yeah. You could do that though if you're ahead of the game. I used to do that too.
Yeah. Well, Jesus, I seen The Basement. You had the Simpsons and the Seinfeld. You had them all on
Yeah, I was telling
VHS down there.
For those that don't know, my dad and I would get the TV guide and we'd wait and see when The Simpsons was coming and then eventually Seinfeld, right from like, I'm going back to the 80s. And he would usually record it if he wasn't at home. We would set the VCR and then it would tell you what episode was coming. So then we'd go, okay, 9 seasons and tick off what we didn't have. We wouldn't record it if we already had it. And so, as you know, you see, we've got like stacks and stacks of VHS with Seinfeld, usually 3 or 4 on each one, right? And I would end up taking those on the bus trips because it was an easy layup for, if people didn't want a full movie, we'd just throw in and it was great because now that would seem standard. But back then, which wasn't that long ago, for those that don't remember or weren't alive, you would, though the TV shows weren't options on VHS.
No.
That was really late. The VHS was around and you could go to Blockbuster and get movies. You might be able to get the odd documentary, but I couldn't even go and get like Cheers. That was a big show from like in the whole 80s. But I couldn't go. Yeah, it was a good show.
Cheers would be Cheers, MASH. Yeah, those are
right
close
up there.
But
Once I was old enough for Cheers, like Fresh Prince, I could get at any age, and I mean that in a good way. Like it would go by me like a level of like intellect or deep characters or whatever. Intellect sounds uppity. I don't mean that, but like say Saved by the Bell was easy. You could understand that when you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
It was like, if nothing else, Screech would do something stupid and spill something, right? And then there was Fresh Prince that there was a heart to it, but he was so funny and a rapper. And Carlton would do a funny dance, and there would always be a situation. And the whole premise of some guy in Philadelphia being in California was real, like black or white. And I know it was innovative because it was a black family, but it was just for me, there was that. So everybody could kind of get that. Then there was Cheers, that it was a little deeper. It was, Sam Malone, the ex-pitcher, and he had like his relationships. And if deeper might not be the right word, maybe more mature. Like, there's a lot for 40, 50-year-olds.
That's why I went with Fresh Prince. You said before I went to Kitchener. That's why I went with Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Yeah.
And because this came later. Like my appreciation for Cheers and MASH came way later. MASH was the last. I thought growing up, I'm like, I never wanted to watch it. And then when you could get those VCR, there was a period in the late 90s that all started coming out on VHS. I remember going, okay, like MASH is way better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Same with Seinfeld was the same for me too. I didn't appreciate Seinfeld till it was almost done. And
it's funny. I remember, we were in somewhere. It was on the road. It was Worcester or Lowell or one of those places. And
one of those lovely U.S. cities that we used to travel to.
Yeah, I know, right? It was a good pregame meals, good hangouts, good little spots. Jerry Fleming had gotten up on stage and he sang a song. And I remember saying, "Oh, that was great, Jerry." And he goes, "Well, it should have been. We missed the Seinfeld finale tonight." And I remember that being a huge thing. But you're right. The first 3 years of Seinfeld, I didn't even know it was on the air.
I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't appreciate it. I was too young.
No one did. Yeah. Well, people did, but no, I don't think, because it wasn't talk in the dressing room. It started to be like, "Did you see Seinfeld last night?" But that wasn't a thing into its existence. Like, I don't remember being in Tri-City, 94, 95, my draft year, and really knowing much about Seinfeld, but that was its heyday, right? Yeah. But the thing is, after 6 seasons, it started coming out in syndications, and immediately, most shows takes a while. Seinfeld started overlapping right away.
Yeah.
Do you think humans will live to be 150?
Oh my God. Well, maybe eventually. Right now? Like,
no, not now.
Like in our lifetime, no. But eventually, yeah, maybe. Jesus, you think of technological advances. Think of how far we came in the last century.
I know, right?
If you go back 100 years ago,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Darcy, my great grandmother when she was alive. Like, I don't know, she died at like 87, in like 87. But I remember getting dropped off there after school. My parents would pick me up after work. So I had 2 hours with Nan. Gran, I called her. And she told me, she was like very coherent, and she was a smart woman. I don't think she had much schooling, but neither did a lot of people in 1900. But she was born in 1900. She said, like, I was taking like a horse to the store to get milk. And then by the time I'm like well enough to remember, like didn't feel old yet, people are walking on the moon.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Crazy.
wow, yeah, you're 69 years old. And she was 87 then. So that was like 20 years previous.
Yeah.
She was like, a long time ago, people were walking on the moon. Well, in my lifetime, which was even before that, and I'm still alive, I was taking the horse to get milk, and not a lot of people had electricity. I'm like, wow. Like, imagine seeing a light bulb and going, wow, that's cool. And then people are in rocket ships to the moon, and there's satellites orbiting around. Oh, man, it would be fucking crazy.
Crazy. You think of what some people still alive today, the changes they've seen. Yeah, I could see 150 being realistic.
I can too, because with all this AI, I mean, and there's so much bad talk about AI, and I think for a lot of good reason, but and it'll never happen. Like, what did we use nuclear energy for? To fucking blow people off to bits, like, But the whole idea with Einstein, I think, he was looking for a way to create energy at the most efficient rate, right?
Yeah.
I believe that's why he was going nuclear, or not just Einstein. He solved the problem, but I don't think while scientists were trying to solve that problem, they were thinking nuclear. They knew that was a possibility, but it was weaponized.
Yeah.
So with AI, I don't think it'll be used in the positive. But if it could, you got to think. We replace hearts. Even I just talked about the moon. Think about medically. Like, well, she had a fucking heart transplant, right? Like herself. Like, that wouldn't have been possible in 1900. And all the medicine doesn't always get it right, but eventually we do. Science, the trial and error, and it gets us to one place. And I'm thinking with AI, at some point, if you can replace your organs, right? I don't know where. I just said 150 just because it's a leap, but the people. I mean, Darcy, her age group just before that, the average lifetime was 40s.
Yeah.
Right. We're going back.
We'd be dead.
Yeah, we would, and
we'd be
average,
old.
we would be old. We would be old. So I mean, that really changes, doesn't it? I mean, we're considered now. I mean, I wouldn't say young, but we're young in life still. Like, and at one point we would be like old wise men sitting there with a fucking beard, telling the fucking rest of the village, what used to go on back when we were kids, right? Smoking on a fucking hookah, telling everybody what spirits to follow and whatever. Your favorite, doesn't have to be your absolute favorite, because it's subjective and it would take all day. But give me one of your favorite movies and why.
Oh, jeez. I got a lot. I got a lot of favorite movies. Every movie that comes on, I'm like, oh, that's in my top 10. But that's like 15, 16, 20 movies I got in my top 10.
Did you see the new Mission Impossible yet?
No, I haven't. I was actually going to ask you, when we're talking about nuclear, did you watch Oppenheimer yet?
Not yet. I'm going to go.
Yeah, we were talking.
I'm going real soon. At George Street Festival tomorrow. Okay.
Oh God.
And my buddy Taran San with you. Remember Sandman?
Oh yeah, caught him in the old.
Yes, you fucking did. You did.
Might have broke his nose. I'm not sure.
You had a great. Yeah. Well, you could fucking go, man. That was the same year you fought Troy Crowder. You mad bastard.
Yeah.
You mad bastard. But yeah, he's coming over, and outside of that, it's just like it's 7 days of 3 bands a day. We're going to Alan Doyle tomorrow. A couple of local acts opening up. Dave White, shout out. Shout out to
actually
Bump.
Alan Doyle's over here next weekend at the Rock the Boat.
He goes at it, man. He was over there too doing he does not a one man, but a play called A Telltale.
Yes,
Harbor?
Telltale Heart in
Telltale Harbor.
Harbor. Yes,
Telltale Heart is Edgar Allan Poe, my friend. A poem, Edgar Allan Poe.
Yep.
I did that in English class, so I can remember.
But
what's that?
Not evermore, but
there you go. Nice. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Not much. I'm not.
Do you teach English?
No. Geography, global issues, law, that kind of thing.
Global issues. Now,
Yeah.
there's one.
It's
Wow.
fun. I like that class. Yeah.
It must be a lot to unpack nowadays.
Oh, you can't even scratch the
You do
surface.
current global issues or just
We
global
do current
issues?
events. Yeah, we do some current event stuff, but
Jesus Christ.
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's good.
Interesting to say the least. I think at one point, I don't really know, man. My dad wasn't big on teaching high school, but when he used to make the comparison, he preferred junior high, but he only did high school for a year and then he went to junior high for like 27 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't really, I'm like, you had one experience and I don't really, for me, I don't know. I think I would enjoy being able to teach things that I can talk, like that I'm interested in, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, here's a cow, the cow goes moo, you know, not that that's junior high, but you know, there's that option. If you're a teacher, you know, I guess you can do anything from kindergarten up, but I would prefer it. What do you think of high school?
I love it. Here in PEI, it's grades 9, 10, and 11, or sorry, 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
I do. I love it. I don't see myself being anywhere else, but I also don't see myself staying in administration for the rest of my career either. So I may have to go somewhere else, but yeah, we'll see. I do. I enjoy it. I teach, usually I teach geography, global issues, leadership, law, that kind of thing. But
Leadership,
now,
great teammate. You can. Do you ever bring hockey into it? You really were a
oh
great
God,
teammate.
yeah, I have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I that's my connection, right? Is
That's your experience, yeah.
yeah, and I did student council, and student council is not a class; it's after school. But I run the student council for a long time in my school, and I get into the Canadian Student Leadership Association stuff, and took kids every year to the national conference, and I was on the national board for a while, and just great experiences. Got to meet fantastic people from all over the country. So yeah, that was me in my heyday. I think I get into administration kind of by happenstance, and I'm in there now, and I'll stay for a while, but it's not. I know it's not where I'm going to stay forever. I miss teaching too much. I only get to teach one class a day instead of the regular 3. So I just miss being in the class a little too much. But
You still look in great shape, but you must be working out or something. Nothing? You just
I walk the golf course. I walk Mill River every morning. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you must have a good diet then or something.
I can't really say that I have a great diet. No, my wife's pretty good.
One of your best fights that I saw you in the AHL was against DJ Smith. Love DJ,
Yeah.
but you know, you're telling me that, I mean, DJ works out. You're telling me that you don't. In other words, that DJ put on a lot of weight. You still seem.
I was going to say, I hope DJ doesn't see this either. He'll come back and try to kick the shit out of me. But
Nah,
DJ can't be working out anymore.
no, he's, you know, I guess to each their own. Be DJ probably, but he always. I ended up playing with DJ. Like he was on the bike every fucking day. That guy worked hard
Really? Yeah.
while he was a pro, and he was with Brad Brown a few years ago.
Yeah.
And they gave me a phone call, and we were kidding around. But he said, "No," I said, "But I'm so busy and everything." He said, "I find it hard to go through a routine like I used to." But again, and I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." And you know, we all love food. Ball hockey and ice hockey saved me. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Darcy, I hate going out on the side of the road and just running in a direction.
I
And if
can't
it came to that, I don't know. I just don't know. So you know, like I said, the ball hockey, a lot of people think I'm nuts for still playing, but that's a big motivator of it. And I just got off the ice with all the pro guys, Dawson Mercer, Zach O'Brien, Cody Donaghy, all the worst of the bunch plays in the queue. You know, so if I stop doing that, I find it immediate. Then I got to start really thinking about what I eat, and I fucking hate doing that because I like eating. I mean, when I say think about what I eat healthy, but I got to start going, okay, like salad and like a morsel of chicken tonight, you know, and I don't like going there, so I just go fucking hard actively.
Well, my wife is an unbelievable cook. So we eat well. The problem is I can't control my portion size. It's like I can't have a little bit of the steak. I have to have like the whole steak. Like that's just me. But I walk a lot. Like I walk Mill River every morning. It's almost 10 kilometers by the time you're done, and then it's like 9K. And even in the wintertime, like my wife and I get home from work, if we can, we just need to vent, right? She's a teacher too, so she gets it. So we just go for a walk. We go for a 5K walk after school and vent, and then I'm on the ice.
Wow, say no more.
Yeah,
say no more. It's just energy burned. It's not. I'm not talking about it from a cardio perspective.
No,
I mean, like for people our age that like to eat, everybody has a tweak. I think most people, you don't in your 20s, Um, I think most people that are, still look in decent shape have some kind of routine. And there you go. You just answered it for me.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If I could cut out the 9:30, 10 o'clock beer and chips, I'd be all right. I'd do all right. That's tough to cut out, though. Jays come on, and I gotta crack a beer.
That's why I'm telling you, if I drink beer, I'm going out. Like tomorrow, I'll get on beers and I'll really get on them. But I cut out just having like years and years having like a beer on a week now. But I sit there and I'll have a few edibles or I'll smoke a indica joint or something like that. I do find I need something to take the edge off at the end of anything physically or mentally draining. Otherwise, I don't really need to. But most days it comes down to that. And when we were playing hockey, it was always beers, But to each their own now. I guess it's a little bit different, and that's more me. But every Friday and summer Saturdays too, it's turning into. But just last week, me and Senior came here. Friday night, right? We had our beers. We watched our videos.
Place, not at his place.
At my place, yeah. Well,
yeah.
He comes up here once in a while now. I got he loves the, I don't know what it is, 85-inch screen or whatever. And I got a small house, so the living room, it's right at you. It's everything. Yeah. And I got a nice stereo system set up. And I think Mom likes the break. I do. Yeah.
God love your parents. For those who don't know, I lived with Terry and his parents when I went to Memorial. I went back to school, get my education.
Darcy came back to get his teaching degree, and as I understand it, it would have been 2 years in PEI, and it was 1 over here, right?
Yes, the education program. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did the 1 year.
The 1 year
with us, and every Friday. But
every Friday, it was clockwork. I loved it. That was my favorite part of going to school over there. Was Friday night at seniors.
Friday at seniors, and Mom would be upstairs and the boys would come down, and sometimes it'd be 5 a.m. and the music would still be on, and she'd come down. Okay, can you guys go now? I'm like, oh man, she's upstairs, can't hear the TV. There's no way she can hear it. We got the volume on max. People would show up, and they be smoking. No one cared about that downstairs. So like there would be this atmosphere, this vibe, and like, not strobe lights, but neon or dim ambient kind of lighting. And it felt like a bar down there, and Senior just loved it. It was fun for all of us. Mom never complained once, but I think she likes the break when he comes up here now.
No, I remember we'd go, usually you and I'd take off and go up to Walmart and get like a John Prine's Life and Times or an ABBA's Greatest Hits or something. You pick up a DVD and bring it back, and that was the Friday night entertainment before we'd hit the town. So
You're right. We would stack them up, and so that's what we would do. We would get these. When I was younger, it used to be the same way with a record, right? Like pick one, and that's how the collection gets so big, because every Friday, right? And then we would do the same thing on the wall. We would add a picture to the wall, and now it's just, for those that have seen my stories, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But it's just the whole thing. You should see all the. He started taking magazine covers like Rolling Stone. He's got every one since 1972. No shit. Jeez. So he takes the covers off and like just plasters them up. He doesn't even care anymore about frames. He goes, I'm not waiting anymore to do this. Every time I put it off. So he just got them and he just tacks them up like all over downstairs, like his bedroom, the door, everything. It's just a huge music, some sports, but more music shrine, to be honest.
Yeah. Frig, I can't. I'm gonna have to get back over. Stop in. Last time I was there. Yeah, Heather graduated. Heather and I both got our masters from Mon as well online, and I was supposed to graduate. We were supposed to graduate together. I had to drop one of the classes. I couldn't handle it. It was a psychology class, and I couldn't read the papers. I couldn't do it. It drove me nuts. So I dropped that, and I graduated. She got to go to the fall convocation, and we were over. Remember, we went to your parents' place. You come down.
Yes.
We were still up in Paradise there, and you come down, and we got to hang out with you. And I think we dropped you off at your place in the way, and we were heading out to Clarenville to visit Ryan Power. So. Yeah.
Ryan Power there of Power Conditioning.
Of Power Conditioning.
So those that listen to I plug at every podcast. Well, he did me a favor for working out. He really helped me. I said, dude, if you can help me, I'll give you. Not only that, when I say I'll give you advertising, it was I do it because he did really, really help me. I mean, he could have charged me way more, and I love it. And he trains a lot of the kids.
Yeah,
I think he's a great guy, though. I really do, and I love his work. He's the fastest player I've ever seen. I said, if I'm going to do the lads for anybody, what's that?
I said best kind, as you fellas would say over there
Yeah,
in the
best
raft.
kind, man.
Best kind.
And I forgot that you knew him from PEI.
Yeah.
And I
Great
guess
buddies. Great
playing
friends.
against him in the O. So I had to go. So between season 1 and season 2 of Shoresy, and you'll see Shoresy's going to come out in a couple weeks
Can't wait.
or a couple months, not even now. So I don't want to ruin anything, but for a few reasons, it probably would have been better for my character if I put on a little bit of weight. I mean, like muscle, like bulky muscle kind of thing, right? So, and I had about, I guess, 4 or 5 months. It was October through April of last year. So, and I know myself, like I can be dedicated because I'm not dedicated. Because I know if I leave it to me, I won't do it. So I just make myself. Like, it's just like hockey. I used to just hire somebody. I don't care. It's worth it to me. I know I can physically do it. I can physically go to Good Life and do it, but I know I won't. I'll do it to some degree. But if I hire Ryan Power Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll go in there every day at 11 o'clock. Give me your best. This is what I want to look like, Ryan. Put me there. And I'm telling you right now, the results were wild. Wild.
He's good at it. He's good at what he does.
Great. And not only the results, it was the best results I'd ever seen, but by landslide, not only in like because it was a job then to get big quick, and then I'm still playing ball hockey on a world level, man. So I didn't want to lose the mobility either.
Yeah.
So, we were doing balance stuff while we were doing it was, and I know that a lot of people that's standard, I won't get into it, but I know a lot of people that know their way around a gym. I was a personal trainer myself for a little bit. Not that I'm any expert, but he's an expert. And not only that, though, it's a lot of the hockey players come in, a lot of the states, not just for a specific. I mean, he does New Hook, right? He trains New Hook, so that's obvious. But, kids like Penny Lane's age that want to go in for, I'm going to sign her up as soon as her season's done, like with quick feet and, using ropes and elastics and the mobility part, the balance part, right? It's a lot of, because he's not just coming at it from an expert. He went through it in school, but he did it himself. And he's a what's the word? A perfectionist when it comes to his body, almost OCD like. So when you combine that with a good personality and good leadership and teaching, it's fucking great, right?
Yeah. No,
anyway,
he's very good at it. That was not rehearsed, by the way, that we were going to talk about Miles. I just brought it up. I called him Miles. We all called him Miles.
His
dad's name was Miles.
Yeah. Anybody from PEI that ever comes, they ask me, like, do you know Miles? I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you. Oh, yeah, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I still say the fastest player I've ever seen from Newfoundland. Man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievably quick.
Unbelievably quick.
Been on the ice training camp with Bure, McGillney, even Baskarov. You put Baskarov in there quick, and Ryan Powers right there with all of them, step by step. And Boyd Devereaux played with Boyd and Kitchener. Boyd could fly.
Oh, you played with Boyd Devereaux?
Oh, yeah, played with Boyd, yeah.
Always one of the fascinating players, I thought.
Yeah.
I think he went the first round on like 60 points, and people were going, why did he go in the first round? And he proved everybody, proved me right. Anybody that actually played knew the difference. Yeah. But, fans were kind of down when he went, and he ended up being a real solid two-way player for a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's not that he would need the money, but he's a fireman now.
Hey.
Just can't. I think there might be ADHD in there. He just can't sit still, right? He just can't. Just has to be doing something.
You know what's wild? You know who else is? Guy who does Shoresy with us, Jordan Nolan. 3 Stanley Cups. 3 Stanley Cups. His last one was with St. Louis just a few years ago. But he's like, I got to do something, and I just love the comrade. Firefighting, if you think about it, there's a lot of parallels, right?
Very much like pro sports.
Yeah, very much.
Team sports. Like it's a team environment, right? Like Boyd Olson, friggin' Gennady Razin, that's what they're doing out in Edmonton. They're a fire department. So
it makes total sense. It's good money, and it's I think it'd be. I can't speak for firefighters, but I think it would be a very rewarding job if not only with the obvious. I'm not talking like rescue me, although I am, but just with everything. I mean, you might go a while without working, but when you do, you're working. I mean, like you might be on the clock. Maybe nothing happens that night. I'm not saying dead bodies or anything. I'm not saying burning buildings every time. It might be a cat out of a tree, but a lot of the time whatever you're doing makes a difference, hopefully a positive one in someone's life. And
Right.
you got to think on your feet. It's like you're going in and typing out a resume and, giving it to these finance brokers or whatever. I'm not, again, saying that's a bad thing. I can just see how firefighting, and, you got the camaraderie. I'm assuming you make food for each other and stuff. I think it would be a lot like playing in the minors.
Yep.
Okay, listen, my man, I got to take off. Penny Lane's got her, like I said, Sunsplash, which is like a secondary unofficial provincials. They're all pumped for it. I'm excited to watch it, but I'm going to go out and coach my last 2 hours of Ice Dogs hockey with Wally Bray. Do you have anything to promote or anything before you go?
No, not really. No, just doing my thing. Run a hockey school here with Stacey Smallman. He's with Champions Hockey over in Fredericton, and we do a minor hockey. We do a hockey school for the Tignish minor hockey, local minor hockey around here. That's coming up. Apart from that, no, the same thing. Got to get Abigail to her soccer game tonight in Summerside. So that's about it.
Okay, that sounds like an awesome thing, an awesome schedule. I love that you have your summer off, and teaching couldn't fit you any better, especially this vice principal thing I didn't realize. But listen, I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad you know what? You're still married, and you guys do things together.
We do everything together. Everything.
There you go. So 60% of the world now that gets married,
I know,
doesn't stay married.
Crazy. It's crazy. Honest to God, said to my wife last night, we're sitting there. We were on our way home from my son played in Stratford, played soccer in Stratford last night. We're on our way back and listening to the radio and all the country songs on there. And it was I don't even remember what song it was, but it was talking about fighting, couples fighting with the wife, don't even care to fight anymore or something. We get home and I said, you and I don't fight. Like, how come? Are we supposed to be fighting? Or like, am I missing something? Does nobody else fight? And we just don't fight. But it's not, world's not great, but we don't fight. I don't get it. I don't know.
You're generally two good people but you always said what you meant. Marriage, I think a lot of people, I did it, you take it for granted, right? You don't really think it out. And there's often things that you find out once you're living with someone. I can only speak from experience. I'm really happy that with Danielle and I, it was different. We got together for different reasons, almost serving other people. And I mean that in a good, positive way, but we didn't have time for ourselves. But you know what's great? We're divorced. She's Penny Lane's mom. So I hope we get along, but I'm saying I would hope we do, but we do. It's better than ever. She'll be connected to me forever. And she's in some ways, she is my soulmate. It just didn't work out, the romantic part and everything, but I absolutely love spending time with her. And she couldn't be a better mother. So to each their own. But like I often say, the actual marriage part didn't, because I don't think we took that word. Maybe it's subconscious and really gave it the credit it deserves. And I think a lot of people do that. You guys are both genuine people. It's hard to piss you both off. And, I just think you're just good people. That's my take on it. You've been married a long time now. It would probably be weird for it to fall apart at this point. So I think it's smooth sailing from here on in, buddy.
Jeez, I hope so. Time will tell, I guess. But thanks. Appreciate that. That's nice.
Well, that's just what I see from you. Listen, I appreciate you doing this today, Darcy. And you know what? I hope to see you soon. I hope it's here. But if not, I live in Atlantic, Canada. So do you. We're on the move. Let's make a point to see each other soon. Yeah, maybe even hit a concert somewhere. Pick one in Halifax and both go there and, figure it out.
Sounds good to me. It's been too long.
It's been too long, my friend. Thanks for coming on. And
you got to say hi to Senior and Gail for me too.
Love you to death. Okay, I certainly will. Folks, that's Darcy Harris, my good buddy, my old teammate, and one of my closest friends in the world. If you're downtown St. John's this weekend, stop in, have a beer, the Bull and Barrel. Why not go to Trinity Pub? Why not go to Rob Roy Confusion, Martini Bar, or my two favorite stomping grounds, Greensleeves Pub and TJ's, Turkey Joe's, formerly Turkey Joe's. If you're out for a bite to eat, why not do it at Merchant Tavern, Blue on Water, or Wedgwood Cafe? If you want to go to Mr. Lube, there's 2 locations right now in St. John's. One's on Torbay Road and one's on Campmount Road. Live, laugh, lube, and support one of Newfoundland's best athletes, Chris Sparks. Power Conditioning, as we just spoke about, on Rope Walk Lane. Strength and balance for the body and mind. Ryan Power. Look it up. Join soon. Change your life for the positive. True Hockey. Take what's yours. And, of course, Pitbull Pain Relief, the pain sticks that just don't quit. Go to pitbullpainrelief.com and order yours now. I swear by them. I use them every single day. Folks, thanks a lot for tuning in. This has been episode 163B of Tales with Tierra. I'll be back in just a few days with more tales. Catch you guys on the rebound.